and you feel like you don't have a clue. I felt that way. And this episode might completely change the way you see imposter syndrome.
Ah, yeah. Hey, Francine.
Hi, come on in. Come on in and minimize my screen so you don't have to look at this ugly background anymore.
I'm trying. I'm trying. Look, now you can see my background. Hold on. Oh, there I am. There you are. We got it. Okay. So, how you been this week, Francine?
I have been excited. I have a big speech contest coming up Saturday, which is why my background's ugly because I need my plain green screen for the speech contest. But next Tuesday, I'm going to have a whole new backdrop.
Ooh, that's always exciting.
Yeah, because the contest will be over.
Ooh, I'm excited too. This evening, I have another event for music industry professionals called the
Ooh.
Root Cause Challenge. It's a little bit of networking and a little bit of digging down deeper into some of the things that are holding you back, in particular, holding you back from getting paid what you're worth. So,
Ooh.
I'll drop that in the comments just in case you happen to be seeing this and you are an independent artist or something else in the music industry. This is just for you.
Okay, got a question now. Is imposter syndrome one of those things that could be holding him back?
Oh my goodness, I'm pretty sure that we're going to talk about it tonight unless somebody convinces me otherwise. Because this is such a big thing, and it does come from this survival instinct in our brains. There's two different areas of the brain that you could kind of problem solve around, and one's more survival, one's more creative. And so many of us don't know this like war that's going on in our brains like most of the time, and you just go about your day and you don't know that this is happening at the core of all of your actions. So imposter syndrome, when you see this pop up, is like a really great signal for you. So why it's actually a really good thing, Francine.
It is. It's a sign of growth.
It's a sign of growth and a chance for you to see that there's a learning opportunity here. And so I'm going to be talking a little bit more about a strategy that I use when I notice imposter syndrome pop up, because what I've noticed is it doesn't matter what level you're playing at, everybody experiences this. Have you noticed the same thing, Francine, with the people that you work with as well?
Absolutely. Even in my writer's class at the senior center, these people aren't trying to get published. They're not trying to write a bestseller. They're just trying to write their memoir to pass down to their families. And imposter syndrome is even hurting or slowing them down because, for instance, nobody's going to want to hear this story. It's boring. No, that's part of what made you you. Your kids definitely want to hear the funny stories from high school, or the kids want to know the conflict you had with your parents. The kids, so same thing happens to authors who are writing for other people. And that is the beauty of the Believe You Can anthology program, is that we help you identify the parts of your story that people want to hear, rather than you think you're just an imposter trying to write a story that nobody's going to want to hear. Like, Heidi, didn't I tell you that something you were sharing was very valuable to your audience?
You certainly did, and I think I knew it, but it just I needed somebody to reassure me that it really was true. And I think that's part of that feeling of imposter syndrome, or um, what you're kind of seeking when it comes out, is like somebody to be, no, like you really are this person that you're coming out to be. Sometimes we're still so attached to the older version of ourselves before our growth, and we're not quite letting go of that. And that's where some of that imposter syndrome comes in, because you're remembering the past of what held you back then before you grew through that.
And that reminds me of when I wrote my first book. It got put up on Amazon and I was excited. I shared a little Facebook post about it, but I didn't want to toot my own horn. I didn't want to promote myself. I didn't want to be visible until my friend, I was on his podcast, not even talking about my book, talking about his book. And he said, "Oh, we have another author in the audience right now. Francine just released a book." And I'm like, "Oh, he saw my book. Maybe it is important. Maybe people do want to see it."
Sorry, I was typing
Oh,
in the chat.
that's quite all right. I, I, I thought that maybe what I said wasn't a complete sentence and you didn't know I finished.
Uh, yeah, multitasking, not so great at it right now. But hey, Mark,
Hi, Mark.
I'm glad you feel like that sometimes too.
Well, it's universal. Everybody does at some point of their life.
Yes, yes. Um, so Francine, when do you usually see imposter syndrome pop up in your life?
Whenever I'm trying something new, because I'm not the kind of person to get everything all right, all perfect. I'm not the kind of person who waits till everything's done to share it. I'm a let's put it out there and see what happens. And then if nobody looks at it, I'm like, well, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe they don't like me. Oh no. And then I realized that it's the algorithm that only 10% of the people who know me are ever going to see what I put up. Or if I'm on YouTube, the right people might not be seeing it because it's funny. I could post the same exact video on YouTube and Facebook. On YouTube, I get 40 views, and on Facebook, I get 500. So a lot of it depends on the audience. And that's what a lot of people think. If they don't have a lot of likes, they think, oh, I'm not good enough. And that imposter, that's the data your brain gets. I'm not good enough because nobody likes my stuff. Maybe the right people aren't seeing it. I just I just realized I left something cooking. Keep talking,
Uh-oh.
baby.
Okay, I'll keep talking. So, oh look, there I am on the other side. Well, anyway, what Francine was talking about is a saboteur that we all have. It's a very common saboteur called the judge. And the judge likes to judge ourselves, other people, and the situations that we're in. And there's something about our brains that's just like, I must have an answer. I must know the answer. And sometimes it will settle on an answer that isn't necessarily true, just to satisfy, I have an answer to this. And if you don't stop, when you don't slow down, when you're always hustle, busy, 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 a lot of this stuff can fly under the radar, and you don't realize that sometimes you might be misjudging a situation, which, Francine, when you're talking about posting on social media, if I instantly react and judge myself and say, you make horrible content, nobody likes it, you should stop doing it. Okay, that is exactly what my judge voice says to me when I post and nothing happens. I'll be completely honest. So I can choose to listen to that voice and quit, or there's something else that I like to do. And if you continue to try and problem solve your way around like a self judgment like that, you will fall deeper and deeper into self judgment because that's all you're focusing on is you're focusing on that judgment. So you've got to interrupt it somehow. Francine, how do you think that you'd interrupt that, downward spiral of rumination that just keeps you stuck?
What I do is I find something I'm good at. So when I get stuck, say I have writer's block while I'm writing something,
Mm-hmm.
I will go into Canva and just play and be creative and have fun, whether I use it or not. But it's something that my brain sees as successful. Because the one thing I want everyone to remember, your brain believes whatever you tell it. If I get stuck in writing and think, oh, this story is not good, I'll just start over on something new. No, I get up, I walk away, I do something I'm good at. Now my brain says, woohoo, I succeeded, I'm good at this. Then I go back to the writing with that attitude. Just like Heidi said, once you start going down, if you keep in that same self talk, you will keep going down. You need something to disrupt it, whether it's a walk in nature, whether it's going playing with your pets, whether it's even retail therapy. I'm not telling everyone to just go spend more money than you have, but just getting out of whatever you're doing and changing the way you think.
And it could be something as simple as just paying attention to one of your senses for a couple minutes. So, when you go and take a walk in the park, you can hear the birds tweeting. Francine, you were commenting earlier about my birds, and I'm like, they're everyone's birds. I'm outside. But you can hear the birds tweeting. Maybe there's a fountain or something, so you can hear the sound of the water falling. You're maybe wearing flip flops and you can feel the grass on your feet. When you focus your brain on just your five senses, it kind of tells your brain, like, hey, everything's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Totally.
Right?
And even what you were talking about, Francine, the going and doing something that you're good at and then celebrating afterward how much fun that was, we don't do that nearly enough for ourselves. And it's no wonder that there's people walking around like, I'm just not happy. Sometimes you're not even allowing yourself to be happy doing things that make you happy.
Well,
So,
back when I was a holistic health coach, I'd always suggest don't change everything all at one time. Change one thing until it starts feeling comfortable, then change something else. So if you have imposter syndrome set in, change one thought. If your imposter syndrome is crushing you, I can't do this. I'm not a writer. I have stage fright. I don't want to put myself out there and be visible because a lot of writers have problems with visibility. Sue hates being on video. Sue's one of the authors in the Believe You Can anthology. And we're working through that. And Anna, one of our children's authors, is helping her too by having her with her son Ben to give her a little moral support about being recorded and being on social media. But where I'm getting with this is if Sue just tried to be out there on all the different platforms all at one time, it would be overwhelming. But to get over her fear, we started with she comes to our weekly meetings and participates. So she's in the Zoom environment. Then Anna did a video without her talking, with just music and Ben and her pointing to things. So there's just a little bit of exposure. Now we're working on Sue actually talking on video. So she could see when she got 3,000 views, that was a real morale booster to say, woohoo. And now she's more into trying to do more. So don't try to push yourself into it all at once. Baby steps. And that's why the Believe anthology is great if you want to be an author, because you're not sitting down to write a 70,000 word book. You're writing 12 to 1,500 words with the support of a team.
And what you're explaining is a strategy behind building better habits. So what we're doing with the Believe anthology is helping you to build these better habits, kind of like small rewards. I don't know how many of you out there have a dog, but when you do dog training, they tell you that if the dog even somewhat like goes in the direction that you wanted them to go into, you're going to reward them for that. It wasn't the right trick, but they kind of paid attention, so they got a reward for that. And then the next time it got a little closer, and you just keep rewarding it for all these little teeny tiny steps. And you would be surprised on how motivating this is. Me personally, I used to have the unending to-do list with like pretty much no celebration at the end. It's like, oh yeah, I did that stuff. And like, or I would be trying to build a new habit, and I just wouldn't be doing it. And what I came to realize was I just had the level set too hard. I was trying to play at level hard when I was just starting at the beginner level. And it's no wonder I wasn't getting started.
That's a good point. How many people are stuck in comparison? You look at some influencer that's been doing it for 8 to 10 years, or if you're a singer, you look like at the people like Shania Twain, or I can't think of any other names right now, but you're just starting out. You can't look at the people who are already there and say, well, I'm not like them, I suck. You have to look at where you are and what your next step is.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because that's the next step in my antidote for imposter syndrome. Once I interrupt those negative thoughts, go for a walk, listen to some music, do something like that, I'll sit down and I'll ask myself, who am I? And maybe sometimes in that moment, I'm not sure. And I'll just start writing down whatever might happen to come to mind. And then I start asking myself, why is what I'm doing in this situation so important? And why specifically is this so important for me? And then I also might ask why a couple more times, because we call that whying it down. And you really tend to get to the root of
5 whys.
the why. So then I can start to think, what am I doing about it? And how do my unique skills and abilities make me different from who I'm trying to compare myself to in the moment. And usually by the time I get to the end of that journaling session, by asking some better questions and thinking about it from the creative part of my brain instead of the survival part of my brain, there's a lot of confidence that comes out of that exercise. Francine, you're the confidence coach.
Yes.
And you know all about whying it down. So would you agree that is this something that you've seen to be beneficial as well in this situation?
Actually, I wrote all about it in my book that's coming out soon, The Butterfly Who Changed Everything. There's a whole section on the 5 whys. We use that in industry when something's going wrong, like on an assembly line or in a process. You use 5 whys to get down to exactly why it happened, to get down to the root cause. And I show in my book how to use that on yourself so you could get down to what the root cause is. Like the character in the book isn't happy, and she starts drilling down. She isn't happy because her parents told her what to study in school and what job to get. And then she realized that she's living her parents' life, not her own. So if you want to learn how to do this, the book's launching on May 30th. So stay tuned.
That is so awesome. And even though this process that we talk about is pretty simple, it's like it's an instrument.
It's a tool.
You've got to practice it constantly to start to make that muscle memory so that whenever you notice imposter syndrome pop up, you say, nope, we're not going to think about it that way. Interrupt it, pay attention to one of your senses, and then you're going to look at it from a creative perspective, asking yourself better questions to get better answers. This process that I talk about is actually been a tested process. Dr. Ooh, is my internet being weird? I'm getting internet weird warnings over here.
I did too. It must be something in Jacksonville right now.
Anyway, Dr. Shirzad Shazim published a book called Positive Intelligence, and he also has this fantastic program that I'm a certified coach for. And I am so excited to be able to bring these kind of processes to something that I would call it like a really big setback for me. Imposter syndrome came up all the time and I didn't know how to deal with it. So I'm grateful for this process because it's something very easy to follow that because I've practiced it over and over again, it's becoming automatic and it becomes very quick. So even if I am standing in a room of people that I feel really intimidated by, that I feel like I could not possibly be at their level, I don't know how I'm in this room, I can catch that thought immediately and have a process to get right back into those conversations and be making the connections that I should be making in the room at the time. There's a reason I'm in that room. There are certain skills and abilities that I have for me to have gotten to that space. And imposter syndrome makes me forget that really quickly.
Well, and another good thing to remember is when you get into the situation when your brain is telling you lies, that you're not good enough, that you don't belong there, that you don't know as much as everybody else, that's when it's a good time to get feedback. And Heidi, where do we get feedback?
At a portal party.
Yeah. If you are crushed by imposter syndrome, get some eyes on your work and find out it's really not that bad.
It's true. And if you're not busy right after this episode, we're doing something else. It's a Q&A session for the Believe anthology. So you've heard us talking about this. You might have questions. You might have questions about the portal parties.
That's right.
So I am
Or
about to
if you
drop
just
that.
want to get in a Zoom room with us because you think we're cute and funny, then come on, we'll talk to you.
Heck yeah.
Can
So
you
I
put
put the link in the chat. It's got the calendar sign up, so you can get the Zoom link and get into the room. That's right after we're done with this episode.
And I'm going to put it on my Facebook page. If anybody's watching this on Facebook, there's the link. Because we want to help you with whatever project you are doing, whether you're writing a book, a song, ad copy, social media content. We might not be experts in what you're doing, but we do have opinions about what we see, hear, and feel. I got some of the best feedback on my work from people who had no clue what I was doing. But what I said didn't make sense to them. So I was able to change what I was saying so other people could understand it. If you stay in your head, you're too close to what you're doing. And you might be missing key points in explaining it to somebody else. Heidi, we experienced that in your portal party when we edited your story a bit. I told you we need to expand this, we need to add more here, you need to explain why about this. So that's another reason people feel imposter syndrome, because you're saying it, but you might not be saying it in a way where people receive it the way you intend it to be received. And then that makes you feel bad or like an imposter because you're not conveying the message that you're intending to convey. And that's where the portal parties are huge. And the Believe anthology program gives you, it'll give you plenty of opportunities to get that, woohoo, I did it. Like, woohoo, my chapter's done and edited and ready to go. And when you get a rough draft, we're going to celebrate your rough draft. When you edit your rough draft, we're going to celebrate your rough draft. When your edited copy goes to Terry, our professional editor, we're going to celebrate when she loves it. So that's your one opportunity to overcome imposter syndrome by letting us help you celebrate your achievements and your success.
Yes, Francine. And we just had another awesome episode. I enjoyed talking about the imposter syndrome because I see
here's Sue. Sue, did you hear us talking about you today? And I'm gonna put this link here again in case anybody didn't get it, so everybody could join
Recording
us
in progress.
in the Zoom room.
Recording stopped.
And I'm getting the Zoom room open right now.
Okay.
So
let's bring this baby home, and we'll see you in the Zoom room.
all right, fantastic. So if you can conceive it, you can believe it, and you can achieve it.
From the head to the heart to the hands. Yes.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. See you in the Zoom room.
See you guys.